Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the best clean makeup at Sephora. And Sephora does have a ton of clean options now, which is amazing. I wanted to share with you guys my favorites and top picks so you know what's worth it and what's not, so it's easy to sort through and figure out what is the best of clean at Sephora. So let's get into the video. Before we start, if you aren't already subscribed, I would love to have you and give this video a thumbs up. Let's try to get this video to 250 likes, so go ahead and give this a thumbs up and let's get started. The reason I want to do this video is because Sephora stores are closed at the moment. They're offering free shipping, I believe, for a couple weeks, so you can use the code FREESHIP to get free shipping on anything. There's no minimums, which I think is great, so I thought it would be the perfect time to share my favorites. I'm going to start in the order of how I would apply products, starting with primers and then ending with lip products. So I have two primers here I want to mention. First is the First Aid Beauty. This is their Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. As you can tell, I've really used this up. This is perfect if you want a really glowy base without something feeling oily or too heavy on the skin, and it has the prettiest pearlescence to it. It's not very glittery and it just feels like a lotion on your skin, so it's not going to add a lot of weight or cakiness to your makeup. It's also so refreshing and has a really nice coconutty smell. It smells like a tropical vacation. I don't know if you can tell, but my hand just looks like nice and glowy. Really cool to use just as a moisturizer, or you can layer it on top of moisturizer, really any way you want. You could also mix this in with your foundation. I just really love this. Is probably one of my favorite glowy primers of all time. It just has that perfect amount of sheen to it without being too much or too glittery, and it doesn't enhance texture, so this one is amazing. My next primer recommendation is Tatcha the Silk Canvas. This is a really great primer. I'm almost out of this one as well. I've really put a dent in this since I got it. This is great if you want something more smoothing, and it's a little mattifying. It's not, I wouldn't really necessarily call it a mattifying primer. I would just call it very smoothing. It's almost this whipped type of lotiony texture. It is a little thicker. It feels rich on the skin. They did just come out with a new liquid, which I think would be better for more oily skin. I haven't tried that yet, but I'm really interested since I just love this one so much. One of the only primers that I feel like really does make a difference in my makeup. It makes the foundation look super smooth, and I think it does improve the longevity as well. I have this under my foundation today. Great primer, and it is expensive, but I think it's worth the money. Moving on to foundation, I have three here I want to share with you. First is the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. I talk about this all the time. If you watch my channel, you know this is a favorite of mine. I just love the lightweight consistency of this. This is more of like a medium, lighter medium coverage with a dewier finish. If you like that type of foundation finish, you would love this. It truly looks like skin. It's one of the most natural looking foundations I've ever come across. It does last a good amount of time. I wouldn't call it very long wearing because past probably like the 12-hour mark, it does start to sort of like rub off of your skin. But other than that, this is just a gorgeous everyday type of foundation. And I use the shade SF2, perfect neutral shade. Love this. Packaging is nice and you do get a pump. Next two are ones that are relatively newer to me. Bite Beauty Changemaker. I have a full review on this. I really love this. It is similar to the Ilia foundation. I feel like all of these foundations are really similar because I like a certain finish on my skin. And I do have a lot of texture on my face, so I need a certain formula so it doesn't enhance that. And I find that more of those satin finish foundations, satin leaning on glowy, really look better on my texture. So I would say the Bite Beauty one definitely has more coverage than the Ilia one, but again, it depends on how you use it. This with a sponge is definitely lighter coverage. I like to use it with a brush to really amp up the coverage. Another one that looks unbelievably skin light. It's so lightweight, it almost gets better throughout the day as you wear it. It's just beautiful. I do find this one can sink a little bit into lines if I use too much of it. But if you just like go light-handed in areas you know that you usually crease, it's beautiful. This one does have a bit of a scent to it if you are sensitive to scents, but other than that, I absolutely love this, and it's always on my vanity. One of my favorite everyday foundations. This is one I just tried, but I'm so in love with this already. It's the one I'm wearing today. This is the Wander Beauty Nude Illusion Foundation, and it just has this doe foot applicator. This is marketed as a full coverage foundation, and I do find it's full coverage when you use it with a brush. With a sponge, it's more of like a medium coverage, but this is so stunning on the skin. I feel like I can use one layer of this and it covers all of my imperfections, and I don't have to layer up more and feel like I'm getting like a cakey face. It just looks, again, really lightweight, thin on the skin. It doesn't feel like you're wearing makeup, and it just looks super natural. This one I think wears extremely well on me when I use the right primer and powder. It is a little bit dewy, but if I use a mattifying primer and a mattifying like a powder in my T-zone, beautiful. I have no complaints with this. I don't find it sinks into my lines or anything of that nature, so I absolutely love this. I did try this because Ali Glines mentioned it, and I'm so glad I did because it's a great foundation. Moving on to concealers, I only have two here because I'm so picky with concealers. First off, I believe they're discontinuing CoverVex from Sephora, unfortunately, but they do still have this on their site. Only a couple shades left, so if you can find your shade on sale, amazing, but they also sell this at Ulta or just coverfx.com. This is the Power Play Concealer. I think this is still my favorite concealer. Nothing has really topped it in terms of a full coverage concealer. It's just so good. I think this one is almost empty. I use the shade N Light 1. I also have the white one. That one is on the site right now, not sold out. If you have very fair skin and you want something to highlight, that one's really cool. It has this like ball tip applicator. The applicator is alright. I just love this formula. It gives a really good amount of coverage while still feeling lightweight. Doesn't make my under eyes look dry. It doesn't crease. It looks really smooth. This is definitely still my #1 concealer recommendation. Next is the Hello Fab Avocado Bendy Concealer. If you want a little bit of a lighter coverage, but an extremely, extremely lightweight, like you can't feel that you have makeup on your skin at all, this is the concealer to go to. It really is amazing how much it just like melts into your skin and doesn't look like you have any concealer on. If you have trouble with like fine lines or dry under eyes, this one's amazing because it doesn't sink in or cling to anything. It really is just super smooth. And I think the shade range on this is pretty crappy, if I remember correctly, because this one is the lightest shade. I believe they only had a couple shades. They expanded the shade range, it would be great, but this is a really nice concealer formula. For powders, I also only have 2 recommendations because it's something I'm really picky with. Same with concealer. First is the Ilia Soft Focus Finishing Powder, another product. If you watch my channel, you know this is my all-time favorite powder for under the eyes. Nothing beats this. It's way up here, and all of my other powders are like in the dumpster because this just is the best. If you have like dry under eyes, your under eyes crease a lot, or you just have a problem with your under eyes looking smooth, please try this. It's so amazing. It makes your skin look airbrushed, and it isn't too drying, so it doesn't like really accentuate any lines, and it's not too dewy where it doesn't really set down your makeup. It's just so, so good. This is pricey, but I will repurchase this until I can find something better, but so far I've had no luck. I just really can't get enough of this. I'm wearing it under my eyes today. And I like this for all over the face as well, but just because I try to like reserve the amount for my under eyes because it's the only thing I like for them, I only use it there, but also great for all over the face. I also wanted to mention a more mattifying powder. This is the Bite Beauty Changemaker powder. These came out and the shades are a little weird. This one's light too. They do darken your foundation, so I would go a shade lighter than you think you would be. This one works when I'm self-tan, even like it looks like it's a little bit light. I could even use the lightest shade when I'm self-tan because it's just weird how it like reacts with your skin. But this one's really mattifying. This blurs your pores like nothing else. I really enjoy this if you want something mattifying that's gonna stay matte throughout the day. This is probably my best oil controlling powder that I own. It's also great for touch-ups. So yeah, that was my last powder recommendation. Moving right along to cheek products, the first one I want to mention is the Lila B Sun-Kissed Bronze Beauty. As you can tell, this is a well-loved bronzer of mine. I like to mix both the shades. This can be a little bit warm toned, so if you have very fair skin, I'm not sure this would be like your favorite tone, but it's just a very silky, smooth formula. If you go light-handed with this, if you have fair skin, I think it would still work for you. It's just very pretty. It does have a sheen to it, but it's not chunky, and it doesn't accentuate my texture, which is one of my favorite things about it. It really just brings a lot of like life back to your face, so I love this, and I like the glass packaging. Definitely feels luxurious. And then next up is probably my favorite bronzer of all time. This is the Hourglass Nude Bronze Light. I love this so much. The formula is just perfect. If you have textured skin and you like a more glowy bronzer but don't want like your texture enhanced, not sure if you can even see the shade. This is beautiful. It just imparts the most natural looking glow to your skin. You can't tell there's any shimmer in the product. It's even more natural looking than the Lila B one. And I just think this is such a stunning formula. Well worth the money, and the packaging is really nice as well. You get a mirror in here. I just can't see myself ever not using this. When it's in my makeup drawer, I always reach for this. Whether I layer it with another bronzer or not, it's just always my go-to. So 100% recommend this. They also have some other shades if you have a different skin tone from mine and want like a different undertone. It is a warm bronzer, but it's definitely on the more neutral-ish side. Just perfect. I have it on today and I love it. Blush, I have 3 options here. First is the Antonin Cosmetics highlighting blush in Cheek Crush. This is stunning. If you have deeper skin or even just like medium skin, you could definitely use this as a highlight because it is a very light blush tone. This is the most like glowy blush I've ever used in my life. I have it as like a cheek topper today in sort of like a highlight. I did layer something else over it. But this, if you want a glowy cheek, incredible. Again, doesn't accentuate texture because I feel like it's so finely milled and just a really great powder formula. It sits beautifully on the skin. I was kind of scared when I first tried this because it is like so metallic looking that I thought it would accentuate my texture, and I'm usually not a fan of a lot of shimmer on my cheeks, but this is beautiful. It is like a chunkier packaging, but it's made out of this bamboo, so very sustainable and gorgeous shade. They also have baked blushes I've always wanted to try. If you guys have tried those, let me know what you think of them. I wanted to mention a cream blush formula. This is also from Lila B. These are great. You can use these on your lips or your cheeks. This is the shade Be Lovely, which is my personal favorite right there. Really pretty, like brighter blush, but very wearable. These aren't a very glowy cream blush. If you want a glowy one, I love the Tower 28 ones. They also sell those on Sephora. This is more of a matte formula. I like to use these with a sponge just to get the most even application. They just pack a good amount of pigment. They also have a bunch of other shades to choose from. And I think even though this is like so tiny, I don't even think I'm gonna go through this because you need the smallest amount to get a good impact on the cheek. And they're so portable, like you could just bring that anywhere you want in your pocket, you know? Blush it up. Lastly is another Hourglass product. It's the Mood Exposure Blush. Specifically, this shade is just my favorite. I never used to gravitate towards these type of like mauvey blushes, but this one, I just finally decided to try a blush tone, and I feel like it's so flattering, and it's the same formula as the bronzer, where so it has a glow to it, but it doesn't accentuate texture and you can't tell that there's shimmer in it. I really don't know how they make these powders so beautiful, but I absolutely love this. I'd be interested in trying more shades. If you guys have one of these, let me know what your favorite shade is, but this one, Mood Exposure, beautiful. All right, on to eyes. Also another category of clean beauty I'm very picky about. I feel like there's a lot of clean eyeshadows that are not good and not worth it. But the first ones I want to mention are the Aether Beauty palettes. This is the first one that I have, the Rose Quartz one. And I've mentioned this before, it's just not my favorite colorway. Like I feel like it's a little bit difficult to come up with looks with this because there's just not a lot of range of depth, I feel like. And they're very cool toned, so it's a little bit difficult. The metallics in these are beautiful. The formula of these shadows I think are one of my favorites in clean beauty. Super blendable and pigmented, like they just blend out like butter, like a dream. This other one is my favorite, Summer Solstice. I'm wearing this one on my eyes today. I used this shade, and then the gold on the center of my lids and did sort of like a halo eye. This one I think is a lot more easier to come up with a cohesive look. I do wish instead of like these purple tones, they did, again, just a little bit more depth with these browns, like maybe just a deep brown or a deep warmer shade, because yeah, it's nice. You can come up with a cooler look with this palette, but I would just love to see this palette be just nice warm tones. In terms of the comparison of these two, these center shades, you do get some like duochrome shades, and I think the Summer Solstice, none of them are really that same duochrome formula. They're just all metallics, but I personally just like the metallic formulas better than the duochromes. I feel like the duochromes are a little bit harder to build up. They're more of just like a wash of color as compared to like an actual shade you can put on your lid. I don't know if you can see that. Here's the gold shade from the Summer Solstice. So pigmented, so smooth. If you were to get one, I do recommend the Summer Solstice or check out the other ones they have. But if you like really cool pinky purple tones, I think you would love this. But personally for me, not my favorite, but formulas are amazing. And the other shadow palettes I like are the Ilia ones. These are their Necessary palettes, Warm palette, and then the Cool Tone palette. For a Cool Tone palette, I think this is so pretty and really wearable because they didn't make it too cool tone, so it's kind of weird to come up with a look. Like you can use these every day because you have a nice like taupe here. You just have some good variety of shades. I love both of these. Personally, Warm is my favorite just because I prefer those tones on myself. But these are really, really nice formula. They're more of a stiffer formula than the Aether Beauty ones, but they have a good amount of blendability. And I really like the shade combinations of these. Whenever I look at them, I do get like very inspired. I love how you get this like burgundy, but you also get that neutral orange-ish, and then you just get some lighter shades and a deep brown. 2 metallics in here, same with this one. I love how they only did 2 metallics and mostly mattes. I love to see palettes with a lot of matte shades because it's just easier to come up with a look with a lot of transition shades to choose from. So love these, great formulas. They do have new packaging now. It's white, so that's why they look a little bit different, but definitely recommend these. Almost done here. I have a couple mascaras. Wander Beauty Mile High Club. This is the volume and length mascara. This is a great mascara. I have this on my bottom lashes today. It has just one of those bristle wands. It's not like a plasticky one, but surprisingly it does give a lot of length and volume. It doesn't flake or smudge at all, and I think the tube design is actually pretty cool. It makes it like portable. And then the other one is the Ilia Limitless Lash. This is my favorite mascara out of all the ones I'm going to mention. It has this super cool hard plasticky brush, but like on one side it has a comb, so if it gets too clumpy you could just comb them out. This just gives a really beautiful, more soft look, but it can be built up to be very dramatic. I use this on the everyday basis. It is super black, makes your lashes look amazing, doesn't get too clumpy, and again doesn't flake or smudge. This is the new packaging for them. Absolutely love this. On to lips, I wanted to mention the Bite Beauty Agave Lip Masks. These are now vegan, which is great. These are so thick and moisturizing. If you have very dry lips like me the majority of the time, these are great to wear overnight or like where you're doing your makeup. This is the clear one, but they also have a rose gold one. I actually have that one on my vanity. But these are great intensive lip balms if you want something like that. And then another product from Bite Beauty, these are their Power Move Creamy Matte Lip Crayons. I have a full swatch video of all the shades of these if you're curious about how they look. But a couple of my favorites here are Cava, Calvados, and Leche. So Cava is like this cool purple toned. Calvados, I hope I'm saying that correctly, is more of like it's a warmish nude. And then Leche is a classic pink nude. I layer these a ton. They're really portable and easy to apply. Super comfortable on the lips, and they don't like wear off patchy. They just look really nice, and I really love these for keeping in my bag on my vanity. They're just a great everyday lipstick option. Alright guys, that was it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. Let's try to get it to 250 likes. But thank you so much for watching. Everything I mentioned will be linked below, and they are offering free shipping right now. I'll put the code down in the description as well if you forget it. But thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.